eat meat in China is a very, very healthy way of eating because we're eating meat in combination with vegetables. And as I said, what you should really be doing is having 25% meat and 75% really a combination of vegetables and grain. So this is the vegetable, and this is the broccoli. So we take a broccoli. What I like to do is actually use the broccoli stem. So we just trim off the end of the broccoli and then peel it by just using the knife. And you see, when you do that, you basically are taking away all the tough skin from the broccoli stem. Like that. Okay, this means there's very little waste. Okay, we take this. Then we're going to cut the top, and then cut the florets from the back, so that you don't drop a lot of the florets and the flowers, and cut it into sections like that. So bite-sized pieces. And then the stem, we're going to cut on an angle. So we have nice long pieces like this. So that the pieces of the stem look more like the pieces of the broccoli, as opposed to cutting it straight across like that. Then we'll take the chicken. And the chicken, we have a skinless, boneless chicken breast. And to cut it into cubes, just slice it into strips like that. And then across into 3/4 chunks. Keep all the pieces together. And use the edge of the knife, side of the knife, to lift the food up. So the chicken is cut. And yes, you can do it when it's a little frozen if you like, but because the cubing is so simple, I don't really bother. So if the chicken is partially frozen, fine. But if it isn't, you don't have to then spend the time to put it into the freezer. But if you wanted to firm it up a little bit, you can put it in the freezer for about 20 minutes. And then we'll just firm it up a little bit. But for this kind of cutting, which are diced, it's very, very simple to do, and you really don't have to freeze the chicken at all. It's only if you want to cut really thin pieces. But the problem is if you cut it too thin, it sometimes will dry out. So we don't want it too thin either. And that's sometimes the mistake that a lot of Westerners do, because they keep on thinking the meat has to be cut thin. And they cut it so thin that it just dries up, and it doesn't taste good. It has no texture, and it's all kind of chewy. So I showed you these scissors. And these scissors also are very good not only for trimming things and cutting off fat and gardening and all of that, but because they have these soft, flexible handles. You can use it to cut things that are difficult to cut, like this drumstick. Now normally you wouldn't cut a drumstick. Right, but this is probably the heaviest bone in the chicken, and it goes right through it. And it's dishwasher safe, and because of these soft handles, they really conform to your hand, so that when you're cutting something that's difficult to cut, this bends. Instead of pressing into your thumb, it just bends along with it. So it's a very, very comfortable fit. We can take a look